Welcome to MD Arsenals. Stop by our store located in Hagerstown, Maryland, right off the I-70.
Our shop and range hours are every day, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, every day.
To find out more about our upcoming classes and other services, please visit our website, www.mdarsenal.com. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and watch for the upcoming MD Arsenal podcast.
All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Podcast started a little late. We probably just need to set the time a little later. So
We just don't need to say a time. There's no time. So we're gonna get here. We can get here.
We'll get here. We start when we start. So yeah. I'm Mike, the general manager of Maryland Arsenal. Of course, Dudley here on the end. He's the owner of Maryland Arsenal. We're located at 19828 National Pike, Hagerstown, Maryland, off exit 32A, I-70. When you get off the exit, we're the first building on your left-hand side. We're open 7 days a week, 10 to 7. So it's easy to remember. And we have our special guest today is Sarah Jones from U.S. Law Shield. So we are a U.S. Law Shield partner. We've been working with them since we started. I'm a big U.S. Law Shield fan, so we'll talk a little bit more about what they offer, what they do, why Sarah's here. We'll go through all that stuff a little later on. And we're going to talk about a bunch of different things today. So first of all, we probably want to talk a little bit about July 4th weekend. Dudley, you had a few things you wanted to say about that?
Yeah, I do. So first of all, good morning, everybody. Thanks for Sarah for joining us. We opened on 4th of July, so it was really good. We had a good turnout, which was really nice. It's a big, important holiday for us, for the gun community in general, being 2A guys, being Americans, and just enjoying our liberties, our rights for freedom, and shooting is one of those big ones. So, I just want to say thanks to everybody that came out. It's always interesting to me how 4th of July around the DC, DMV area is really kind of hit or miss, right? So it's a huge thing. We got fireworks everywhere. People are either in town, but there are a lot of people that come in town, so we got to meet a lot of people's families and friends again. So it's always really nice. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who did come out and hang out with us for a little bit and kind of
celebrating freedom one shot at a time.
Hey, it is one shot at a time, right? So, it's good stuff.
Yeah, the range was busy all weekend, so we had a lot of people coming out and shooting, so it was awesome. I know there were a lot of shooters because there's a lot of brass we had to clean up. So it took a little time to get that mess cleaned up. That's all right. So yeah, we were open all weekend. It's terrific. Had a lot of customers in. So thank you for all the support. We appreciate that. That's we're, as a rule of thumb, these holidays we're probably going to be open. Right?
Yeah,
that's what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be open if we want to be in business. So that's what we're going to do. You want to talk about a little bit about gun availability, what we're seeing as far as firearm availability.
Yeah.
So you've been spending some money, so there must be some guns out there that you can buy.
So gun availability is really kind of interesting, right? So it's been up until now a thing where we can't really sort of order guns, right? So if a customer comes in, they say, I want this gun, we call our distributors and we kind of beg and plead and and they're like, if one comes available, we'll get it to you as soon as possible, right? But if there's none available, then we just kind of take what we've been able to get. So. Here recently, we've been seeing not a lot, but definitely a shift towards there's a lot more availability, right? So
absolutely.
There's been a lot more, especially from the big kind of manufacturers, right? The Smith & Wessons, the Glocks. There's been a lot more sort of, hey, we want this gun, or some person, they come and say, oh, I want this gun, but I don't want a safety. It's like, oh, okay, we can do that now, right? So as things are coming available, we're able to do that. So people are out there and they're looking for a certain gun, a specific gun. It's starting to be that kind of time where we may be able to get a little bit faster than, normally people come and say, oh, I want this gun. I'm saying, all right, we're going to put you on the list. We'll call you if it comes. Right. Like, don't call us, we'll call you, right? It's just how it's been, right? But now, as things are sort of progressing, and we see that, things are starting to change a little bit. So, and if you want that gun, if you've been looking to kind of holding out, then you need to let us know now so we can try to grab it early, because once people start realizing that stuff comes in, things are going to go pretty quickly, I think.
Right. So, and we've been seeing what I've been seeing as far as availability. Like last week, I went on a few different supplier websites and I just searched handguns available in inventory right now to buy, and both suppliers I checked probably had 40 to 50 SKUs of different handguns that were in stock, that were available to purchase.
Yeah.
So. I haven't seen that for probably a year.
That's a big jump up from zero that we've been seeing, right? Right.
And what I'm seeing is that it's not. I wouldn't say it's consistent. Like if you want a Smith & Wesson M&P9 compact, I could probably get you one.
Right.
But last week there was a ton of those guns available.
Yeah.
Now this week I see they're starting to diminish a little bit, but there's had Polymer 80 handguns available. We got a Polymer 80 handgun we're going to show you folks here in just a few minutes, but it's kind of hit and miss. So for a while, a bunch of the inexpensive little Sky pistols were available, which is a pretty cool little compact pistol. It's not a striker fire gun. It's got an internal hammer, so it has a long trigger pull, which is a safety feature. Those guns also have thumb safeties, and a lot of them come with the Crimson Trace red dot, which is pretty cool. It's a very affordable gun. Those were available. Glocks have been kind of trickling in. There a bunch of Smith's been making some. Smith and Wesson's been making some guns.
Yeah, they're
Smith
really
and Wesson guns. So they're really cranking them out. The EZ Shields, very popular guns in 380 and 9. Been able to get those pretty consistently. Finally, the MP Shield 2.0 Max. The Plus. I'm sorry, the Plus,
the new one,
which is the new one, which is kind of in the mold of the P365, the Hellcat, and some of these other guns. Those are available. We've been able to get those pretty consistent, but they're finally going to be available for sale or transfer August 1st.
Yes, in the state of Maryland.
In the state of Maryland.
So,
yeah.
like,
So not a Maryland resident, which is ironic. People from out of state can here and buy them, and we can transfer their state of residency, and they're good to go. But Maryland residents are stuck with the roster board and all that nonsense. So I'll go over that a little bit here in a minute too. But the whole process of getting a handgun approved for sale in the state of Maryland, because it has ramifications for people who make their own guns.
Yes.
Right? Yep. So if you make an AR pistol, you buy an upper, you buy a lower. Obviously you got to do the background check for the lower. In Maryland, you got to wait 7 days for that. You build a pistol. That is your pistol, right? It's not you cannot transfer it in the state of Maryland because it's not approved. Unless you submit that gun to the Maryland State Police and get it approved, you can't transfer to sell it to a Maryland resident.
Right, and that's the key though, Mike, right? That's what people need to understand. So a lot of people are confused by that. So you can have that pistol, you do your lower, you do your regulation. It's only a problem in the state of Maryland. We try to transfer or sell it in the state of Maryland to another Maryland resident.
Exactly. So you could sell out of state.
Yep. I mean,
but as far as Maryland residents go, it has
within
to
the
be
applicable laws of that state where you're trying to say, don't
right.
whatever.
Yeah, as long as you follow, exactly, 100%. We're not experts on the laws of every state.
Right, exactly. We're
Sarah is.
I don't know about that.
We're talking about Maryland and only Maryland. That's the key. So we're gonna make sure that we're not telling people to go. You can go sell your SBR that you made in your house to some guy in wherever. We're just saying these are the rules of Maryland.
In that state.
100%. Follow the laws in the state.
So we're starting to see more handgun availability. Like the Heritage revolvers have been very popular. It's a single action revolver. Those guns start like $150. They're really inexpensive, but they're well made.
Lots of fun to shoot.
And they're made in the U.S. And they have they just came out with the 9. They were all 6-shot 22 long rifle, but they come up with a 9-round version, which is pretty cool. Yep. And they also do the convertibles where you can get 2 cylinders, 22 mag and 22 long in the same revolver. So they're single action. People really like them because they're inexpensive. They shoot really well. Made in the U.S., like I said. And also, if you're going to teach a new shooter, a single action revolver is an excellent choice.
Yes.
Especially a young child because they have to manually cock the hammer every time. So very safe.
That was the first gun I chose to buy, the single action.
Yep, it's an excellent choice. And the Heritages all have additional safety features. They have a thumb safety. Right. It's kind of unusual for a single action revolver, but it just makes the gun just a little bit safer. So ammunition availability, still pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, we see a little bit more ammunition availability, but the prices are still ridiculous, right? So, I think we're going to start to see more trickle in because it's sort of the cause and effect thing. Before, now that Remington is back online, their ammo factory is back online, we're starting to see some Remington ammunition as well. I think we're going to start seeing more supply, but it's like gas, right? So summertime, gas is going to be high. You just kind of sound one of those things that you realize. So. Until the market is flooded and people start buying ammo at the outrageous prices that they are, then we're going to be paying crazy prices and the consumers are going to be paying crazy prices.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things that we have to deal with.
We scored a case of 9mm from one of our suppliers last week, and what we paid for that, our cost was probably about $15 a box than what we used to pay years ago.
More, $15 more, right.
So, I mean, that's a huge increase.
Yeah.
You're talking, probably 2.5 times what we used to pay.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, that cost is passed on to the consumer. So, hopefully, the ammunition thing will straighten out. People ask me all the time. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I will say that if you want ammunition for deer season, you better start looking now.
Yeah.
Because I think we've probably gotten 30-30, very popular cartridge for hunting deer.
Yep.
We've probably gotten 5 or 6 boxes of that so far since we've been open. So, if you find ammunition, for deer season, you just better go ahead and buy it, because I can't guarantee it'll be available. I mean, we saw the same thing last year, right? I was working at a different shop, and we had a lot of guys showing up a week before deer season looking to get a box of shells, and there were no shells, right?
Yeah.
So just try to be prepared and get ahead. And I feel bad for some of these folks, like a lot of the hunters, older folks who hunt, and they don't buy a lot of guns, they don't buy a lot of ammo, and they hunt once or twice a year, and that's the extent of their experience. And so if you're out of the game for a year, and then you walk into your shop and you can't walk into your local gun shop and you can't get a box of ammo, it's like, what's going on? Well, it's been going on for quite some time. Yeah. So, but if you're not involved in the industry, it's you're not going to keep track of that stuff. So, so ammunition continues to be tough. We've got a pretty good supply down there right now.
Oh yeah.
We've got 9mm ammunition. We got some of the Winchester Steel Kitty stuff, which is a little bit cheaper, the range ammo. We've got some defensive rounds. We've got a whole smattering. So, if you're coming to the range, I'm recommending that if you have ammunition, bring it with you.
Yeah.
We probably have some here to sell you, but I wouldn't count on it, because, we had a bunch of 22 long rifle yesterday, and then it was gone.
Yep.
And so people show up, they want 22 ammo, we don't have any. So. We do have a huge selection of rental guns now, which
we do.
we're making a lot of progress on that. We continue to have inventory to that every week. So people will walk up to the front counter there and they'll see all the rental guns, and they think those are the guns we have for sale. Like, oh no, those are back there. Oh, okay, right. So, so we have quite a few rental guns, and typically the policy we started out with the idea that if you're going to rent a gun from us, you have to buy the ammo here, right? So we have some control over what people are shooting in these rental guns, because they're an asset and we got to protect it.
Yes.
So plus, when we sign these range gun agreements with Glock, and if we ever see get them from Smith & Wesson, it's the same type of deal, right?
Right. Yes.
Part of that agreement with the manufacturers, you're only going to allow factory ammunition to be fired with those guns. So, but right now with the ammo situation the way it is, you can bring your own ammo for rental guns. That's perfectly fine, as long as it's factory ammo.
Yep, as long as factory.
We have to check it, so don't get bent out of shape. We have to look at your ammunition.
Right.
But bring your own ammo. We want you to have a good experience shooting the guns. We charge a flat rate for our rental guns for most of them. Now there are some premier or upper echelon guns like the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum.
Oh yeah, baby.
That's a separate rental fee, because there is some training required before if you're brand new to that gun, you're going to need a little training. Yeah. Right, because it will jump out of your hands.
Yes.
But most of the guns, you pay a flat fee, $20 per person, $10 for the second person if you're sharing a lane, and you can shoot every gun in the cabinet. Most of the guns in the cabinet. Yep. So we don't charge you per gun. So it's a great way to try several different guns out. If you have a couple boxes of ammo and you're judicious with your shooting, don't go nuts, you can shoot a bunch of guns. So that's pretty cool. So we want to come out and check those out. Those are available when the store's open, the range is open, you can rent them anytime. So I want to talk a little bit about the handguns that were approved for the Maryland handgun roster. So just a little background. I made a post yesterday on Facebook and got a lot of questions, and so I'm just going to kind of address those now. But so in Maryland, the law says that for a gun to be legal for sale or transfer, it has to be approved by the Maryland State Police. It has to be listed on the Maryland handgun roster. Now, so what is the point of all that? What they did was, years ago when they started this, the idea was to take the cheaply made handguns off the market, right? So Saturday Night Specials was the big talk when I was a kid, like, oh, Saturday Night Specials. So these cheaply made handguns that, and lots of times they were just so poorly made they were dangerous to shoot.
Right. They were hurting people. Right. People were getting hurt when they used them. Yes.
But the industry has dramatically changed. I mean, this whole handgun approval process in Maryland is completely outdated. I mean, it's an artifact of the past, because the manufacturers started to understand very quickly if they put defective products on the market, they're eligible. They could get sued. Right. So you don't see those kind of cheaply made guns that you used to see back probably in the 70s and 80s. Right. But that was the intent behind the law, and of course, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and so you end up with this nightmare that we have right now. Mm-hmm. And so what happens is the roster board only meets 4 times a year. They meet once a quarter. Yeah. And I have seen in the past them postpone meetings. Yep. Which means that instead of having your petition for a particular handgun addressed in a 3-month window, you might have to wait 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. So they haven't done that lately, and they've been doing their meetings virtual. But they'll have a list of you have to send the handgun into the Maryland State Police. Yes. Right. With the magazines, and they run through some tests, right? If the gun doesn't have a trigger guard, like some of these Derringers you see, it will never be approved.
Yeah, never approved. Right.
And if the gun malfunctions during the test, if they have problems with it, it's not going to be approved.
Right.
So you see some guns on the disapproved list, in the meeting minutes, that don't pass because they had malfunctions.
And so do we have because this is very interesting to me, right? So I don't know, is there somewhere that we know what the process is, or do they ever say, is there anywhere that you find like what they do, like what the criteria is that they measure it against?
Well, they don't. They just give broad. If you go to the Maryland State Police website, you can Google roster board, and they'll give you basically like an idea of what they do. They don't give you details.
Right.
So once those guns are approved, they go on. They have to be committed or entered into the registry, right? So that takes about 30 days.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's a 30-day period of public commentary. So people can go on and say, well, I don't think that gun should be approved. I don't think that's ever happened. But so you're looking at, the roster board met on June 9th.
Right.
So those guns are approved August 1st.
Right, so approved for sale. So on August 1st, we can start doing 77 Rs or for...
Yeah, for the guns.
Their
Like I
guns
have
are
a list of them here. There's some really nice guns on approval. So the Walther PDP, which is an excellent gun. We had a few of those. We've already sold them. If we have a gun here that's not approved yet, and you really want the gun as a Maryland resident, you can pay for the gun. We'll hold it.
Oh, yeah, right.
And if you pay for it, you can actually try it out in the range.
Yeah, we're holding 2 of them right now, actually.
Right. The Springfield Hellcat RDP.
Yep.
That's the new Springfield Hellcat that has the compensator on the front.
Yeah, we sold a bunch of those, but all out-of-state residents.
Non-Maryland residents, unfortunately. The 6-hour P320 Max, which is the next gun for you.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Max Michel version. So that thing is really tricked out. It's a very nice gun.
Oh, wait, the Max Michel one? I already have that one.
Well, this is, I'm assuming that's what the 320 Max is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And then the Smith & Wesson Shield Plus, which we have one of those here today to show you. The Shield Plus is a cool gun because the Smith & Wesson Shield, when it came out, it came with 2 magazines, 7 rounds and 8 rounds, which was kind of cool, because it gave you more than the Glock 43, which was 6. But now it's a 10-round/13 round gun. So it's kind of in that mold, like I mentioned earlier, the P365 or the Hellcat. So that one's will be approved August 1st, a 6-hour P365X, which is another really cool gun.
Yeah, like
365 has been wildly popular.
Yeah, I love that. I have one of those.
Amazing gun. And what they've done, they've taken the XL, grip and the 365 slide length. So you get the compact slide length, but you get more capacity.
Yep.
Of course, it doesn't matter in Maryland because we're limited to 10 rounds, right? So.
Yeah, for us to sell. So we're limited for what we can sell. We can only sell 10, but the residents can go out. They can have them. So they just got to get them from somewhere else.
And what we do, if we have a high cap gun here, we just have to block the magazines with the permanent. They have to be rendered to 10 rounds. So it has to be a permanent fixture in the magazine. So we'll do that. Also, the Beretta 92X Centurion, which is pretty cool gun.
I like that.
The FN 509 LS Edge, which is a really, really nice gun, a very expensive gun, but a cool gun. The Taurus has that new one called the G3C Toro, so that one will be approved. And the Springfield Saint Edge Evac.
Oh, yeah, that's the one that breaks down, right?
Right.
I might need one of those.
I think you need one of those.
I feel like I might need
if
one
you
of
buy it, I can shoot it.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's all about me. But so these Springfield ARs are interesting because it's like it's like a lot of ARs. So I have a 6-hour M400 Shred pistol because the rifle's banned in Maryland, but the pistol's legal.
Right.
So most of these Springfield Saint ARs are banned, but the pistols are going to be legal because they're on the handgun roster. So that makes any sense. I'd like somebody to explain it to me. And the Springfield 1911, the Ronin, those are going to be are going to be approved as of August 1st. So there's quite a few guns on there, and we mentioned this in a previous podcast, but what Maryland has done here. So they write the law, and the problem is that the people writing the law aren't gun people. They have no idea what they're even trying to regulate. Right. And so it got to the point where you had to have models approved. So, for example, the Ruger LCP, they make that thing, it's a little 380 subcompact pistol. They make that in a million different colors, camouflage patterns, everything. And everyone has a different manufacturer's part number. Right. So what that means is the black one's legal, but the pink one's not, because the pink one hasn't been approved yet, even though the gun's identical except for the color.
Not gonna make any comments on that.
So if you look at the list of guns they reviewed in the last meeting, it's like 3 pages long.
Yeah,
and they're probably just like, well, piss on that, we're getting rid of the models.
Yep.
So now they're supposed to start that, I think, as of July 1st.
Yep.
So they're not going to start scrutinizing, like if Smith & Wesson comes out with a Shield with a slightly different color, it's got a different part number, it's a Shield, it should still be approved.
So now my question is, I wonder, because there's been issues in the past when people go to buy a gun,
Right.
and then we go to put the model in the system for the Maryland State Police. If you don't put the model number, if it's not right, then they send it back.
Yeah.
So I need to, maybe that's probably a question we need to ask.
Yeah,
right?
we'll just ask. We'll go on the portal and ask.
Hey, is it going to start? Are they still going to be so strict and stringent with the model number of the gun? If you just have because you got the gun, the maker, serial number. Come on,
I know.
seriously.
And it's so silly, and
Right.
it's not even Maryland State Police's fault. Right? It's not the licensing division. They didn't write this law. They're just tasked with enforcing this pile of garbage.
Right.
But their law is written so poorly that this is where we ended up. And so, like what we've been doing, like on the Heritage Rough Riders.
Right.
So you have to put down the model and the model number. Well, the model and the model number are the same thing. Rough Rider.
Right.
So they've been accepting that. So.
Yeah.
The other thing we just to mention quickly, we had a guy come back. Is that 77R came back yesterday because he put down the wrong occupation.
Oh yeah, they do that
Put
too.
down self-employed.
Yeah.
And that is not a valid occupation for the Maryland State
Neither
Police.
is semi-retired. Right, so we're the guy get back with semi-retired. There's
Right.
semi-retired means he does something. What is that something? We don't care about the retired
that's what
part.
they want.
They
want to know what
poor
that
guy
something
meant
is.
to put forklift operator, and he put forklift. And they said, well, that's not a valid occupation. It's
Yeah.
not a forklift.
See,
So, and I know I would bet you $10 that the reason they're doing that is because some joker put down, gigolo or illustrious potentate or some crazy thing. Because I think it's silly. I have to put my occupation down. What's that got to do with anything?
Right.
Right. Just check my background.
Right.
But so they're tightening down on that a little bit. So you gotta. They don't even have a list of approved occupations. So
Right.
Well, that's what I don't understand. I've had quite a few jobs where my job title didn't actually explain what I did, so they wouldn't get anything from that.
Well, and I had a guy, I was helping him with the 77R the other day, and he's put down HVAC. I'm like, hold on a second, that's not an occupation. That's a thing. It's like, well, I'm a superintendent. I said, man, I can't spell that. Just put supervisor.
Yeah,
So
100%.
So I think his is okay, but it is important when you're doing the 77R, especially here at the Arsenal, we will help you with that.
Yes.
Ask questions, because if you mess it up, your 7-day wait starts over.
Right.
Right,
Now we can't
so-
help you with any of the personal questions.
Right.
Right. Because
But
but we
clarifying
can.
questions on what is this a valid occupation?
100%.
Yes, right. All that kind of good stuff. So I want to go over a couple of these guns we got
Please,
here in inventory today. So first one, we're going to talk about pistol braces later on. So I'll show that. I'll talk about the braced gun we have here in the back later. But a few different guns we have here today. This is a Kel-Tec PMR 30. So the magazine is out. You can see that gun's unloaded and safe. The action's open. But this is a 22 Magnum 30 round gun. Which
Yeah,
is awesome.
you really like that gun a lot.
I really do. So when these guns first came out, the Gen 1s had a lot of issues feeding ammunition, but they've rectified that. So they're pretty reliable. I've had a lot of good reports on them. This gun, like I mentioned, it comes with 2 30-round magazines, which in Maryland will be 10-round magazines, which points out another little thing with Maryland that they don't make a 10-round magazine for this gun,
Right.
but it's approved. So we have to block the magazines, render them to 10 rounds.
So now, Mike, is that the one that you can put the brace on? Or is it the other one?
No, that's
the other one.
That's the other one.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, all right.
So the CP33, I think, is what it is. So this one has a thumb safety. The thumb safety is ambidextrous. It's got the magazine release on the back of the grip, on the back strap, which I'm not crazy about, but it's functional. And the sights on this gun for a affordable handgun, production handgun, are really good. They're fiber optics. So you have red in the back, green in the front. So it's an excellent gun. And I would be tempted if I owned one of these to carry it.
Really?
Because I could go to West Virginia and get my 30 rounders,
Oh, yeah.
right? And carry 60 plus 1.
Yeah.
60
is,
plus 1 of CCI, Critical Defense, 22 mag.
Yep.
They make a gold dot for 22 mag too, which would probably be pretty formidable.
That's pretty good.
Anyway, low recoil gun, low noise. So
Yep.
if you were to use this gun in a defensive situation, you get it on target very quickly. But have you ever shot a 22 Magnum indoors?
I don't think I have.
It creates a
we don't
pretty
have one.
substantial fireball. It's
Okay.
pretty cool. I'm all about that.
Yeah,
you know,
we
right?
know you love your
I'm all about
fireballs. Mike is like the fireball king.
Yeah, right.
Anything
I
that has a
just
big
wanna-
fireball, he's all in.
Like
every
my
time.
AR pistol is completely impractical, but it makes
Yeah.
a huge fireball. So
And that's all I cares about. Lots of fire.
So this is Polymer 80. So I didn't even realize Polymer 80 made actual full guns.
Right, complete guns, right.
I knew they made the 80% lowers so people
Right.
could manufacture their own firearms, but this is an actual gun,
Right.
serialized and on the Maryland handgun roster.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an upgraded Glock, or what our buddy Paul might say, it's what the Glock should be.
Yeah.
Right? But what they've done is they've essentially copied the Glock, and they've added a few features to it. First of all, the grip angle on this gun is similar to a 1911. So they adjusted the grip angle. So everyone complains about the grip angle on a Glock.
Yes.
The grip angle is I think is a little better. Okay. It comes with 310 round magazines, which is pretty cool. I'm sure it's a Glock magazine. So if you have Glock mags, you'll take them. This is like be similar to the Glock 17.
Okay.
So that should be a 17 round mag, but it's 10. Okay. It's got the American style a magazine release, just like a Glock on the right hand side of the gun. It does not have ambidextrous controls, but the takedown is the same as a Glock. Okay, so if you take a Glock apart, you can take this one apart. It has the front slide serrations in the rear, which are pretty cool. It has the sights on this gun are slightly better than a Glock, not much. The only thing it's better is it's got a rear blacked out sight and the front dot. So I think that's a little improvement over the Glock factory sights. Pick rail, so you can add accessories, and the trigger on this thing, we played with it, and it's just odd. So the take up on the trigger, it's like it's under tension, like it feels like it's hard. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
Now, the reset is excellent. The reset's very short, so that overall I would say is a huge improvement over the Glock.
Yep.
They've done a lot with the texturing on the grip too, which I like. So they bring it up a little higher, and I like the feel of it. It's a little better.
They got a nice little undercut too.
Yeah. So the undercut on the trigger guard,
Yep.
I think gives you a better purchase on the gun. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice gun. It's not too bad.
Yeah. So these guns are pretty affordably priced.
They're about what
Basically,
Glocks are.
If you're looking at the Glock, I would look at that gun.
Yep.
Because you're going to get a few upgrades, and you're probably going to pay a little less money.
Yep.
Okay. So that's an excellent gun. I haven't really looked at any reviews on it, but I'm sure it's totally reliable. You know. And then we got this one here. I really like a lot. This is again, ammunition source out, slides locked back, gun is empty and safe. This gun here is the Shield Plus Performance Center.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, one thing, the major improvement on this gun, in my opinion, and the Shield Plus is the same. So you get this feature in the regular Plus and the Performance Center. The trigger is tremendous, is a lot better.
Yes.
Because the first generation Shields, if you guys remember, I mean, I'm sure people in the audience are listening today own them. I own one.
I own that. Yeah. I own that one. I own a Shield Performance.
Right, Gen 1.
Gen 1, and it was not. It's not.
But the trigger on these, it's almost. I won't say it's an Apex trigger, but it's just nice. It breaks nice, and the reset is pretty short. So excellent trigger. It even looks better. Okay, if that's for what that's worth. Right? Like I mentioned earlier, this gun comes with a 13 rounder and a 10 rounder. So 2 magazines. They're metal magazines. So very nice. It does have a thumb safety. So you can get a thumb safety on this gun. You could probably get it without the thumb safety.
You can.
It's right there on the rear of the gun. I'm not a huge fan of thumb safeties on striker fire guns, but whatever floats your boat, right? Upgraded sights. So it has the fiber optic front and rear sights, green in the front, red in the back. One thing the manufacturers have done, you see the same thing on the PMR 30 on that front sight, is that the fiber optic sights are terrific, but they are brittle.
Yes.
So some of the cheaper handguns don't have any kind of shroud there, and they can get broken.
Yeah.
But you can see they've got like a metal cage over
Or
the top
they
of those.
they pop out too if they're not. If some of you don't melt the ends properly, or
Correct.
sometimes they
so
bounce
that protects
out.
that sight from like your holstering or whatever.
Yep.
But it also has a ported barrel and ports on the slide, so that would take some of the recoil out. It's gonna make a nice little fireball.
Yeah.
Fireball, right?
Yeah.
All right, and the takedown, this gun's pretty good. But I love the grip texture on this. They really improved this gun. I mean, this is the gun they should have made in the beginning, but anyway. So everyone's on the bandwagon now. These subcompact guns getting, higher capacity. So Smith & Wesson's the latest one to enter that game. So pretty cool gun. Those are available here at the Arsenal. You can come check them out. Like I said, we're open 10 to 7 days a week. So we let you handle the guns. You can dry fire the guns. If you have any problem with that stuff, just let us know what you want to do.
Yep.
So anything you want to add about those, or?
No, just along that line, we had a lot of guns in stock. And I think the last time I looked, we had like 400 guns in stock or something like that. So we have, we've come a long way. So if you haven't been in a while, come check us out. We do have a lot of guns, and so we don't have anything online or anything like that. So it's just inventory wise, we have to come in and check. You can just give us a call, and we tell you what we have, or if we give prices, that sort of thing. So. Other than that, no, I think I'm good.
Well, Sarah's here with us today from U.S. Law Shield.
Yep.
She's been sitting here very patiently. She says, I don't want to talk a whole bunch. I'm like, well, you can probably talk a lot. I mean, honestly. Because I have to carry the show. I mean,
Yeah,
Dudley,
Mike,
Dudley
yes.
doesn't really,
Yeah.
whatever. All right, so Sarah, you want to just give us your little spiel there? Tell us about,
Yeah, so long story short, the way I got involved with U.S. Law Shield was because they cover the red flag laws in addition to covering self-defense. My fiance has been red flagged twice. And 2 weeks ago, I was in a room full of 14 people, and out of the 14 of us, 4 of us had been red flagged.
That's
So
a huge
those numbers
number.
personally make me very uncomfortable. So when we were looking at programs that would protect us, we wanted it to do more than just self-defense, and that's why we chose U.S. Law Shield. U.S. Law Shield was formed in 2009 by a group of lawyers that actually saw people getting jammed up in the legal system, just like with what we're talking about, and they wanted to make sure that they could provide a service that would help with that. You're covered criminally and civilly through U.S. Law Shield, which
Because you'll get sued. I mean, if you get
100%.
charged, you'll
No
get
matter
sued.
what happens, right?
100%.
Yeah.
So it just makes sure that you're covered so your lifestyle doesn't change. We don't want you to have to dip into kids' college funds, retirements, pensions, whatever, 401k to pay for something when it was something that you were acting the way you needed to act in that moment. If you're fearing for your life and you have to protect yourself, you shouldn't have to worry about what's going to happen with your life later due to having done that.
Right.
And that's just what we try to do. Our lawyers are required to be by your side within an hour to 2 hours of the incident. So we want them there for the whole process, and they'll go through the whole thing with you, and you'll never pay anything outside of your membership dues for that. We cover other things. You were talking about hunting season, preparing for hunting season coming up. We do have a coverage where we will cover, hunters. It's called Hunter Shield. It covers for hunting and fishing. If you have to deal with a game warden, we all know they have more power than God.
Yep.
So it's
crazy.
good to have somebody on your side when you're dealing with that. Minor children, most of our kids have been home for the last 18 months, so my minor child coverage was not on. However, after 18 months of isolation, I'm sure when the kids go back to school in September, there's going to be some growing pains.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on what they were learning, my daughter has learned how to do triangle holds while in isolation.
Oh, very nice. Very
Yeah,
nice.
so
Very nice.
when she goes back to school in the fall, we will add our minor child coverage on. Because if something happens, I want to make sure she's taken care of.
It's a necessary life skill,
Yeah,
I think,
when-
personally, but it's fine.
We thought it was good for her.
Yeah, right.
But when I was a kid, they would tell you, like, hey, you're going to eat lunch with the principal and we're going to call your mom. Now kids get referred to juvenile services. So
Yes.
we just want to
Absolutely.
make
Yes,
sure
100%.
that parents are protecting. Your child's covered criminally and civilly the same way that you are through our program. We have bail bond expert witness. We cover your bail up to $50,000. The expert witness portion of that, we will just do our research to make sure that our witness is more of an expert than their witness.
Okay.
We have 50 state coverage, where you're covered in all 50 states, Puerto Rico and DC, the same way you're covered in your home state. I leave mine on all the time. My parents, I had get this same plan. They don't even have guns in their house. I think it's that important because we cover everything from fists to firearms.
Yep.
So my parents go to Florida for like 2 weeks out of the year every year. When they go, they add on their 50 state coverage before they go. When they come home, they take it off.
Right.
Right, and that's because I know you mentioned that because you had talked to us about this before. Like, so even if you're in your car and something happens, like, so if you get in some kind of altercation and you got to defend yourself, you hit somebody with your car, you guys still cover people, right? So like,
100%. In the last year, we've been watching the news. We've all seen all the riots that have been happening, and we've also seen totally innocent people get pulled out of their cars because they happen to drive into the wrong crowd of people,
Right.
or were near the wrong crowd of people. I use the example in that situation. For me, at the end of the day, I'm going home to all 3 of my kids.
Right.
So if that means that my options are to be pulled out of that car by an angry mob or run someone over, I'm going to run somebody over because
Right.
I'm going home to my kids at the end of the day.
Right.
Knowing that I have somebody I can call immediately after something like that happened, my car would then be my legal weapon and I would be protected because I was in a life or death situation. I think that's huge. And
Right.
being protected in all forms. I mean, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just firearms. That was the big thing for me.
Yeah.
It's like our house was built, I think I've told you this, our house was built in the 40s. So we have those cubby holes in the ceiling where you can like hide stuff. So my fiance put the guns up there. If somebody breaks in our house, he's 6'5". He can reach into the ceiling and grab the guns. If I need to get to the guns, they're going to notice me dragging the chair across the room.
give me 1
to
second,
get-
one second. I'll be right with you.
Give me 1 minute,
Yeah.
So realistically for me, I'm defending our house with like a baseball bat or
Right.
the mag light. So it's good to know that we're covered no matter what happens.
Right.
Right.
And
That's
then-
one thing I really like about the coverage is that, I've seen people in classes like the Maryland HQLs. This happens a lot. Well, maybe I'll get the coverage whenever I get my HQ and I actually get a handgun. The answer is that, well, In the meantime, if you have to use a frying pan, fist, knife, any legal weapon in your
Anything.
home, you'd be covered.
Right.
Right? So maybe you can't even, maybe if you have the gun, you can't quite get to it. You got to do with whatever you got to do, right?
Right.
So,
And that's what I always try to stress to people. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
just the gun. It's
and
anything.
the minor child coverage, I look at it this way. It's like, just like you mentioned, especially in Maryland. I mean, when I was a kid in high school, I got in my share of fist fights, and the worst thing I had to worry about was a big brother or cousin looking for me next week to settle the score. But that stuff's all referred to juvenile services now. They don't
Yep.
touch it.
Yep.
And so if you have a child that is adjudicated delinquent by a juvenile court for a crime of violence, they're prohibited from owning a gun in Maryland until they're 30 years of age.
Wow, really?
So 30
Yeah.
years of age.
I don't
So,
know of any other instance
so
where
I
they
mean,
use-
would that is that a right worth fighting for?
Absolutely,
100%.
absolutely.
So if you have U.S. Law Shield, if you have coverage, you can fight that out. You probably win, right? But because the lawyers for Law Shield are really good, I always get a lot of good reports. But that's the whole thing. And you can, well, my kid's this or my kid's that or my kid wouldn't do that or I can't imagine. I understand, but you can you imagine your kid getting in a bullying situation in school?
Right.
I mean, it happens, and. You probably teach your kids the same thing I've taught mine. Don't start fights, but you have to stick up for yourself.
Yep.
And so they retaliate and they hurt the other child, right? The kid falls down, gets a concussion, there's a busted tooth, broken jaw, a serious injury
Yeah.
Right.
as a result of a bullying incident. I mean, they're going to be charged.
Yeah.
It's going to be referred to juvenile services. That is a crime of violence by us. And if they're adjudicated delinquent for that, they're going to lose their right till they're 30 years of age. We know a guy lost his right. Same exact scenario.
Yep.
Right, he did not have coverage, did not have legal representation, so he's prohibited from owning a gun until he's in Maryland, a handgun until he's 30 years of age. So,
crazy.
so that is a right worth fighting for. And people don't think about it in those terms, but that's the reality of what we're up against today.
Right.
100%.
So-
It's important.
So I think that even if you don't, most people in Maryland aren't going to carry a gun because it's hard to get a carry permit. But just owning a firearm, I think in today's society, it's very litigious. There's a lot of crazy things going on. I wouldn't even own a gun without some type of protection.
Right.
Right.
So I have a U.S. Law Shield. I've been with them for a while, and my wife and I both have coverage and the 50 state coverage. I probably need to add the minor child. I haven't thought about that. I talk about it all the time.
I was just thinking that same
Did I
thing.
add that or not?
Yeah, I don't think I have on mine. I don't think I have it.
Right. So we usually have, for most of our classes here, we have someone here from U.S. Law Shield that explains the program, so you can sign up here at the Arsenal. Even if we're not having a class, you can come in. We have brochures here. We'll give you a promo code, and you can use that promo code and get a couple little additional things, which is pretty cool. So,
And you can always get in touch with me. I can sign people up over
sure,
the phone too.
and it's really affordable. I mean, my word, it's very affordable. I spend more on energy drinks in 2 days than I do on my U.S. Law Shield.
That is for certain.
My Netflix is more than my U.S. Law Shield.
Yeah.
So you brought up an interesting thing, though. So what do you know, Sarah, about ERPOs, about red flag laws, about how that works in Maryland? What do you know about it?
So my experience from having gone through it, they showed up at our door around dinner time near Christmas. So I decided in that moment that I would make a friend. Our situation, we were red flagged by my fiance's ex, and they share children. So we have another 13 years where we have to communicate.
Sure.
So I'm sure this won't be the last time.
Oh, yeah, probably
Right.
not.
So we decided to make friends that night. I fed them. I gave them dinner, Christmas cookies, offered them something to drink.
Right?
And we had to send our kids upstairs because we do have quite a few firearms in the house. And I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old. And while they know that we own firearms and they know that I work in a firearms related industry, they're not aware of where the guns are or how many we have. And I feel like that's how it should stay for right now.
I agree with that.
So we sent them upstairs. We were laying our guns out literally on our dining room table, disarming them, helping
Right.
the officers get them ready to take them.
Right?
And honestly, the police officers only had one firearm registered to my fiance when they came, and we handed them, I think, 7 or 8.
Right.
And they had to then register all of them. So all of our guns that weren't registered are now registered.
registered.
Some of them my fiance had built himself, so that's why they
Right.
weren't. They were still
Right.
legal, but so now they are registered. And then they give you like a property sheet that you hold on to, and they go on their way. We were in court 7 days later, found not guilty, walked out of the courtroom, and we did not get our guns back for 4.5 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not unusual. And I've had people in the same situation. Customers described to me getting their guns back, and the guns coming back in not the same condition they were taken.
That's what happened to us.
Because they get dinged up. I mean, Maryland State Police aren't in the business of storing firearms.
Right,
So
transporting
where
or
they, where do they
storing,
put them? Or transport
Right,
them.
yeah.
So,
Well, and ours were fired and then
Oh, wow.
returned to us uncleaned. And one of the guns they had confiscated had never been fired by anyone, which was how we knew they had fired it, because there was black residue in it. And you have no recourse. Like, the whole process, the only word that I've found that really describes what happens when you go through this is violating.
Right.
Oh,
You
yeah.
don't have a say in it. Somebody's coming into your home. They're
Yep.
taking your things. Like, my fiance's HK MP5, that's like his baby. It's his child.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So having somebody come in and take that and then be in possession of it,
Yeah. Yeah,
it was very
thinking,
stressful for him.
I was just thinking about it. I got a couple of guns that have never been fired. I'm not too keen on them being fired.
well,
yeah.
and this whole process
and then
is,
not cleaned.
Right.
this whole process is initiated without any due process. I mean, you
Right.
don't get your day in court. They take your guns. You get your day in court after the fact.
After the
Right.
fact.
So think about that in the context of your other rights that you
Right.
have under the Bill of Rights. So you cannot exercise your right to, freedom of religion or freedom of speech
Right.
until after it's taken away and you get a court date 7 days later. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean,
Right.
if these people who were so anti-gun examined the argument and took what they were saying about guns
Right.
and regulating them and just substitute them for other rights, they would see how ridiculous it is. But, so I mean, the crazy ex-fiance and who doesn't, or the crazy ex-wife, I mean, who doesn't know?
Everybody's got that
has
crazy
There's a lot of
ex.
people with crazy exes,
Or
right?
a neighbor that doesn't like you. I mean,
Right,
that's
so
all it takes.
That's all it takes. They make a complaint, they file paperwork, and it's take the guns first, ask questions
Ask
later.
questions
Right,
later.
100%.
And that's
it's
exactly what
took
it
you
is.
4.5 months to get your guns back. That's
crazy.
insane.
We actually, during this process, because I'm from Virginia, we do things very differently when it comes to guns, so
Sure.
I had never done my HQL. My fiance got all his guns pre-2013, or they didn't have to be registered, or he didn't have to have the HQL to get them, so he hadn't done his either. So during this process, we got our HQL, we were fingerprinted, we passed our background checks, and we had permission to buy new guns in Maryland before we
you
could
got your-
get back
Yeah,
the
old
ones we
guns.
already owned.
Right.
Yeah. So, and
it's crazy.
people can file an ERPO or red flag, can file emergency extreme risk protective order against you. There's no filing fee, by the way.
Right.
So the crazy whatever, can file that at no cost themselves. And you don't get like I said, there's no due process. I mean, you don't get your day in court to make your argument of why they shouldn't take your guns.
Right.
Right? And in Sarah's case, they found out, well, this is true, so then we're going to give you your guns back in 4.5 months.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine why it takes so long to do that.
Right.
Well, I can tell you when we were going through it, we called like once a week, because right after he was found not guilty, we got a very scary letter from the sheriff's department saying that we had 90 days to pick up the firearms or they would be forfeited and destroyed on our behalf.
Oh, jeez.
So we were calling every week because, like I said, they had that HKMP5, so
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was not getting destroyed.
Right.
So we were calling once a week just to make sure that they were aware that we wanted it back, and we were getting things like, oh, well, so-and-so's father died because of COVID, and like, I don't want to be insensitive, but if this were any other type of business,
Right.
that would not be an acceptable
Right.
thing to say to me. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
Yes.
So I don't know why it was okay in that situation. I'm very sorry for that person, but I
Right.
don't know why that's affecting
Right,
me, you
right.
know? And then we also were told we have 50 folders in front of you. This is just one county. Why do you have that many people's stuff? Why are there that many folders in front of mine?
That's crazy.
You know?
Yeah, that's,
So it's very real. It's very scary.
yeah.
But
So,
that's why we chose U.S. Law Shield, though.
yeah, it's
because
hard.
that's-
It'd be hard to navigate that whole
they cover
process
both.
without legal representation.
So
to be
so
honest.
here's my
Very
thing though. So how does so in that situation, if something like that happens to someone, how does U.S. Law Shield, or how would I use U.S. Law Shield to be able to help me with that situation?
The second the police knocked on your door to serve that ERPO, you would do what they wanted you to and comply. But while you're going through that, I mean, honestly, I would be on the phone with my attorney calling the red number that's on the back of our members' cards so
Okay.
that your lawyer is at least on the phone and hearing all of this. You know,
Right.
you can comply with what they're doing without making any statements. That's the most important part.
Right.
And then your lawyer would be en route to you as you're going through this.
Okay.
And then you're able to go through the whole process with them. If there's any questions that have to be asked, you can have your lawyer there with you. Then they go through the pretrial, the trial, all of that, and then the whole process afterwards. It definitely would have been easier for us if we had had a lawyer making those phone
Right,
calls
yeah.
versus me. I mean, we're lucky it went on so long. We're lucky we're not on a list to like never own firearms ever.
Yeah, right.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we had a
Like
customer.
how we felt, you know.
We had a customer, a few weeks ago, came in, purchased a handgun, had his Maryland HQL, got denied. Okay.
Right.
So that's always a little puzzling to people, but it is possible to get approved for a Maryland HQL and get denied on a handgun purchase.
Right.
Okay, because the background checks are different, and under the statute, it's so poorly written, they can't do the same type of background check under the HQL as they can under the 77R. Okay, that just makes zero sense to me.
Right.
So he got denied. So I mean, I called him up and said, "Hey, you got denied." And of course, he was upset, and we gave him his money back for the firearm. And I said, "You have to get a hold of your lawyer." Well, that's what he did.
Yeah.
He got a hold of his lawyer and got that reversed. Now, it's the first time I've ever seen that happen for a Maryland
Yeah.
resident.
He was in here yesterday,
So
actually.
overturned,
That's
not
pretty awesome. That
disapproved.
must feel pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So the
he's
status was
pumped.
overturned, not disapproved. So anyway, it just goes to show you there are mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
So he got charged with something that was supposed to be cleared up and thrown out. That was the adjudication, and it never went
Right.
that way. So
Yep.
he had to have a lawyer to get that sorted out.
100%.
So that's why that's a perfect example of now he had to pay out of pocket because he didn't have U.S. Law Shield.
Well, and
So-
we paid out of pocket for our 2 cases because we hadn't joined U.S. Law Shield yet.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I can tell you right now, for what I paid for those 2 cases, I could have paid for my U.S. Law Shield membership for 46 years for myself and my fiance.
That's insane.
That's
So
crazy.
for us, it was kind of a no-brainer, and we
Absolutely.
found out like being on the other side already.
Oh, yeah.
So that $10.95 a month is definitely worth it versus what we've already paid into the legal system.
Absolutely. So that's interesting. So that's good information for people to have, so they
Right.
understand what this means. Because there's a lot. It gets talked about a lot. And people don't know the details of what exactly it means. It gets inflated, but it's pretty serious. I mean, it's probably about as bad as you can imagine.
Yeah, and in this climate that we're in now, this new kind of, hypersensitivity where everybody is easily upset, like there's going to be a lot more of this sort of thing happening where people are going to, there's always this sort of rush to judgment if somebody doesn't like guns or whatever the thing is. So, I mean, you're probably going to see a lot more people getting called for stuff like that.
Right.
People are just going to be like, well, especially say it's free, you can do whatever. Oh, I'm just going to call and then
Yeah.
let them figure it
them
out,
sort it
sort it
out.
out themselves kind of thing. So you definitely want to be prepared
I
in
feel
case
like
something
we've
happens.
become more vindictive as a society.
Oh, I
too.
agree.
Yep.
And I think because of that, people are more inclined now to take advantage of these laws in negative ways.
yeah.
I do believe when you look at the heart of these that they were started with good intentions. I
Right.
also believe that it was more of like a CYA kind of thing
Oh, yeah.
because we kept seeing like the movie theater shooting.
Oh, yeah.
How many
Yeah.
people said, "Oh, I called about that guy."
Oh,
And
Yeah.
everybody's like, well, why wasn't anything done? This should have never happened because
Yep.
as many people as called, it should have been taken care of before.
Right.
And I feel like these laws were put in place so that they could cover their own rears
Yep.
when something happened, because if they respond to every concern,
Right.
there's no way they're going to have one that falls through the cracks where they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, there's a lot of people concerned
just-
about liability.
Yeah, and that's
Right.
that's what
Yeah.
it is, and it's in its essence, I think, was with good intentions, but in actual practice, I think it's hurting people.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. And the whole idea that you don't get any due process is just mind-boggling. I
Till
don't know how
after the
that just
fact,
flies in the
Right.
face of our civil rights, and I don't know how that would withstand any scrutiny in the right court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, we do have a class coming up that U.S. Law Shield is sponsoring on July 15th.
Yep.
It's a gunshot wound class. It's 3 hours, 5 to 8.
Yep.
On the 15th. Here at the Arsenal, 18828 National Pike in Hagerstown. And we're going to, why don't you just go tell us, I've never taken one. I'm going to take this one. My wife actually signed up for it. It was pretty cool.
That's
So
good.
tell us what we're going to be looking for.
So you're going to learn how to appropriately use tourniquets. They're going to go over sealing chest wounds, if intestines have spilled out, how to take care of that kind of thing. If you have a huge gaping wound, how to plug those and then seal.
Sucking chest wounds. and-
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
What you need to do to make sure that person is ready for when the paramedics get there. I often have people say to me in classes, why do I need to take this? Because if somebody breaks into my house and I shoot them, I'm not going to help them.
Right.
That is your prerogative, 100%. And I got to be honest, if somebody broke into my house and I shot them, I'm not helping
I'm
them
probably
either.
not helping them either.
But a
It's too
course
risky.
like this, I think, is important if you have a gun in the home for yourself.
Right.
We all know somebody or have heard a story about somebody who went to clean a gun and there was one in the chamber and they didn't realize and they shot themselves in the leg, right? So in the event that should happen, heaven forbid, you need to know what to do so that you stay alive till those paramedics can get there,
Absolutely.
especially if you're the only person home. If you're a single
100%.
gun owner, nobody else is in the house. Or if you're somebody who hunts, hunting accidents do happen.
Sure.
You should know how to do this. So think of it more from a self-preservation standpoint when
Right.
you're looking at taking something like this versus helping.
Yeah, the
other
life you
people.
save might be your own. Maybe
Yeah,
it's a loved one,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe
100%.
something goes down and somebody's hurt, you got to help them, So I think if you're prepared to put holes in people, you should be prepared to fix those holes,
Yeah,
right?
I agree 100%.
I mean, I
Take a
think
life,
that's
save a
a good way
life.
to look
Yeah,
at it, yeah.
100%.
So I mean, those are critical things we don't think about often as gun owners. We're spend too much time focusing on, drawing or from the holster or accuracy and marksmanship, but we ought to have these ancillary skills that really might make a difference. So the chances are that the chances of you getting shot are probably a lot less than you having to render first aid to somebody else.
Right.
So that's a good class. You can register on Facebook. Click on the link. You register on the U.S. Law Shield's website. The link is up on our Facebook page.
Yep.
It's $39 if you're a U.S. Law Shield member, $59 if you're not. So it's a very affordable class. I mean, very worthwhile. And we will have tourniquets and first aid kits here available for purchase. If you want to get something that night, we've priced them pretty low. So
And you'll be able to sign up. I will actually be here. If you want to sign up that night, you'll be able to sign up
For Law
during
Shield.
that. Yeah,
There
for
you go.
U.S. Law Shield. If you want to sign up before, you can always do that. You guys have your code,
yeah, it's
right?
MDA1.
Yep.
MDA1. Yep.
So, and you guys can always sign up that way, and then you can come for a little bit cheaper too.
Right. So that's exciting. We got a few other classes coming up. We got NRA Basic Pistol tomorrow. Okay, that's at 10 o'clock. That's going to cover the Maryland HQL, and also if you're interested in the West Virginia non-resident carry permit, which is you can get that now as of July 1st.
Yep.
We're going to have a concealed Utah permit class on Sunday at 10 a.m. The gunshot wound class, of course, again, is next Thursday evening here at starting at 5 p.m.
But defensive pistol though, right? Tonight.
Defensive pistol, I don't think I'm not sure.
Going?
No, I don't think we had anybody sign up for that.
Okay.
Yet, so I got to do a little better job promoting that.
That's all right. I want to take that one. I need to take that one myself.
And then we
but-
got Maryland Wear and Carry next weekend. I'm sorry, the 17th and 18th.
Yep.
And we have first aid training coming up. We have a few other HQL classes. We're also running an NRA Basic Pistol Instructor course at the end of the month. So all that you can go on our website, Facebook page, stop in, pick up a calendar. You can sign up online. You can sign up in the store, and a lot of great training opportunities there for everyone. So, anything else you want to add, Dudley? We're getting close to the end of time here.
Nope. I think I'm good actually.
All right.
I didn't want to
So-
talk about your pistol braces.
Oh yeah, so I did want to mention one thing. So if you go on our Facebook page, I just added a post this morning. So the ATF they're proposing to change the regulation on pistol braces. So pistol braces are devices. I just have one here. That
Show
okay, so
clear.
this is a Mossberg
Yeah,
Shockwave.
you don't show clear. Good. Clear.
Yeah,
Yep,
so we're
all right.
clear. Everything's empty. Nothing in the chamber. Nothing in the magazine. This is a Shockwave. Shockwave comes with the handle.
Yeah.
So
Comes with like a
that's
little
how they-
pistol grip looking thing.
Right.
I'm not like a little ball.
It's not a vertical grip, but it's
Yeah.
like a handle. And that's how they get away with having a 14-inch barrel. Because
Right.
otherwise, if it had a stock on it, or a pistol grip, vertical pistol grip, it would be considered a short-barreled shotgun. You have to have a tack stamp.
Yeah.
But what we've done is added a pistol brace to this. So this is a pistol brace. It's not a stock.
Right.
This one doesn't function like a stock because it's not adjustable.
Right.
But this still does not change the configuration of the firearm. So in Maryland, this is considered a handgun.
Yes.
Believe it or not. You
Yes.
gotta wait 7 days.
Yes.
But with the pistol brace, it's designed to make these guns easier to shoot because you can take this Velcro off and wrap it around your forearm or your
Right.
shooting hand, and gives you better control to stabilize the guns. It's a stabilizing brace.
Yes.
People who are handicapped, people in wheelchairs,
Yes.
have difficulty controlling these firearms. It's a revelation for them because
Yeah.
now they can actually shoot this gun. Okay. This is the 20 gauge version. They
Yep.
make it in 12 and 410.
Yep.
This one's a lot more manageable. The 12 gauge is a hammer.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
hard to shoot with that handle.
And so that 20 gauge, so it's funny, so that 20 gauge Mossberg, the exact same model, I bought from my father and my sister as home defense weapons. So I bought each one of those, each one of them one, sent them to them. So I really am a big fan of that. And my dad actually wants the brace and the pistol grip, so I want to send him one of those as well. But that is a very good, manageable, and so when people come in and they talk home defense, we automatically steer them towards a shotgun as a sort of primary home defense weapon. One, because the racking of a shotgun is the most, I don't know what anybody says,
That's a
the
very
most
recognizable
recognizable sound in the world is
Everyone
that
knows what
sound
that
right
means.
there. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, you know what that means.
Right.
And so that's so that we point them toward that. And so this is a great shotgun, a great
And
pistol.
ATF has came out and stated that occasional incidental shouldering of this particular firearm
Right.
or any firearm with a pistol brace is totally legal. It does not change the configuration of the firearm.
Right.
So because I'm shouldering it,
Right.
it doesn't now make it a rifle.
Right.
Okay.
Occasionally.
So if you were to say, I'm putting this on here to avoid the tax stamp, then you're breaking the law
100%.
because you've manifested your intent.
Right, intent.
But these things have been on the market for years. There's millions of them in circulation.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a lot of functionality on the firearm, and it makes it easier and safer to shoot for certain classes of people. So last October, November, ATF wanted to open up discussion on this. So they had commentary in the Federal Register, and they got a lot of comments. And what they were trying to do is they wanted to say that this makes the gun an SBR, short-barreled rifle or short-barreled shotgun. You have to have a tax stamp and have to wait, a year to get approved, whatever.
Right.
And there was a lot of people that were against that, obviously, because that would make millions and millions of Americans now have firearms that weren't legal to possess because they weren't registered to the ATF. The government didn't get their tax stamp money, $200 a pop. And so, and what the best argument was, well, ATF is not regulated, does not have the authority to regulate accessories, only firearms.
Yes.
So, in my opinion, that's why they dropped it.
Right.
Because they realized, we can't regulate these things. We can't regulate the accessories. But now what they're trying to do is change the definition of an SBR.
Yes.
Okay, which would include something like this: SBS, short-barreled shotgun, short-barreled rifle, and then with the same outcome. Right now, you've got millions of gun owners that won't be grandfathered in. They'll have to get rid of the firearms, destroy them, or register with the federal government. And none of those are good options. Right? None of those are good options. So if you go to our Facebook page, there's a picture of an of a pistol with a pistol brace AR platform. And you can click on that link and go leave a comment on the Federal Register.
Right.
Okay. Because that makes a difference.
Right.
You can do that up until September 8th, and then the comments will be closed. But we need people to go en masse to that website and make a comment, because we can make a difference.
Right.
The other thing that you want to do, particularly if you're a West Virginia resident, is get a hold of Joe Manchin.
Yeah.
Because the Senate is the margin is so tight there between Republicans and Democrats that he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
And this clown, they've nominated Chipman,
Yep.
David Chipman, to be the ATF director. It's a blatant anti-gun guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
he's an
they're going
anti-gun
to
lobbyist.
vote now. They're
so-
right next week, I think.
Yeah,
They're
so
gonna
we
vote
need
on
to
him.
call Joe Manchin and say, don't support this guy.
Right. Because Joe Manchin is not gone on record one way for or against him as of right now. So he's kind of, I think there's 3 senators left.
Well, he knows he's in trouble if
Yeah.
he supports that guy.
Oh, yeah.
West Virginia is a pro-gun state.
Yeah.
So anyway, check out our Facebook page. You can click on the link there. We're going to wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we're good.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. So I want to thank Sarah for joining us.
Thank you, definitely.
Check out our website, check out our Facebook page, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. See you guys later.
Welcome to MD Arsenals. Stop by our store located in Hagerstown, Maryland, right off the I-70.
Our shop and range hours are every day, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, every day.
To find out more about our upcoming classes and other services, please visit our website, www.mdarsenal.com. Also check us out on Facebook,